If the most experienced traveler was pinning the places that they visited on a world map, the following places would be left blank. Even though some of these sound like perfectly good getaways, they're way more treacherous than you could possibly imagine. These inhospitable environments exist but should never be approached, because doing so could mean certain death. Here are the 10 most toxic and deadly places you should never visit. The Blue Hole in Egypt. This 394-foot underwater sinkhole at the edge of the Red Sea was nicknamed Divers Cemetery because it has trapped dozens of the most experienced divers in the world. In 2017, international freediving record holder Stephen Keenan drowned while assisting freediving world record holder Alessia Zecchini. It was the first recorded death of a safety diver in history. Divers say that a dark 85-foot passage known as the Arc can be very disorienting. And at this depth, they succumb to a condition known as nitrogen narcosis, where breathing gases at high pressure causes mental and sometimes physical impairment. Local technical diver Tarek Omar has pulled more than 20 out of the water, earning him the nickname the Bone Collector. But thousands of people continue to flock to it each year. Centralia, Pennsylvania. The small town of roughly 1,500 people sits directly on top of a coal mine. One day in 1962, a fire in the town dump spread to the mine and has been burning under the town ever since. Temperatures underground were measured to be over 900 degrees Fahrenheit, and residents reported that certain spots in town were too hot to even walk on. One reporter even said you can feel hell beneath your feet in Pennsylvania. Carbon monoxide began seeping into people's homes. To this day, poisonous smoke kills any vegetation in the area. The United States government ordered a total evacuation in 1984, but a handful of residents refused to leave. Now a modern-day ghost town, a 2023 census of the World Population Review says that the population of Centralia is currently at 4 people. The Danakil Depression. If you woke up in Ethiopia's Danakil Depression, you'd think that you were on an alien planet. Its sulfurous hot springs and hydrothermal fields give off stupefying neon green and yellow hues, and it features many other harsh features like acid pools, steaming fissures, and salt mountains. Wilfred Thesiger once called it the land of death, since temperatures can reach 145 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's common to see dead insects and birds around its sulfur springs. Its bubbling lakes reach 212 degrees Fahrenheit and have such high acid levels that they can burn your skin. A 613-meter volcano called Etra Ale rises out of the Danakil Depression and contains one of only 8 active lava lakes in the world. As inhospitable as it is, it's one of Ethiopia's top attractions. But even with experienced guides, tourists have been killed by either the harsh terrain or local gunmen in robberies gone wrong. The Gates of Hell. Deep in the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan lies the Gates of Hell. Also known as the Dervaza gas crater, this massive sinkhole measures 230 feet wide and 100 feet deep. Geologists estimate that the sinkhole opened in a natural gas field in the 1960s and was then set on fire by the Soviets in 1971. Initially trying to burn off the methane, they assumed that the blaze would only last a day or two. But since Turkmenistan sits on top of one of the largest natural gas deposits in the world, the fire has been burning ever since. It continues to leak methane gas, which is very damaging to the atmosphere and can lead to negative health effects for nearby residents. With such a striking visual and pretty epic name, tourists from all over the world have wanted to visit it. But tourism-wise, Turkmenistan is considered the second most isolated country in the world, just behind North Korea. Dzержinsk, Russia. The city of Dzержinsk, Russia is located in the middle of a large industrial complex that produced chemical weapons, rocket fuel, and dioxins for more than 50 years. It's considered one of the biggest hotspots for Russian chemical manufacturing, and sadly, regulations are very lax. Nearly 300,000 tons of chemical waste have been improperly landfilled there, causing what Green Cross officials describe as a huge lake filled with a slurry of hazardous chemicals. Some say the levels of chemicals in the groundwater are 17 million times the safe limit. The city holds the Guinness World Record for the most chemically polluted town in the world, and the life expectancies there are 10 to 15 years below the Russian average. Because of the negative attention, the Russian government is currently working on a cleanup program costing roughly $3 billion. Hazaribag Bangladesh. Many of the leather products that we use today require a process called tanning, which basically processes raw hides or animal skins with the use of chemical agents. Roughly 110 tanneries exist across the United States, but nearly 250 tanneries are located in 1 square mile in Hazaribag. These tanneries use outdated methods, and every day they collectively dump 22,000 cubic liters of toxic waste into the Buriganga, a main river and a key water supply. This includes a highly carcinogenic chemical called hexavalent chromium. The homes of tannery workers are built next to the contaminated streams, ponds, and canals, and health problems like skin and respiratory diseases are very common. Sadly, dozens of sites like this exist around the world, but this one in Bangladesh is the most serious. Chernobyl. The effects of the 1986 nuclear meltdown in Chernobyl are still being felt today. The flawed reactor design that was operated with inadequately trained personnel resulted in explosions that released at least 5% of the radioactive reactor core into the environment. This was 400 times more radioactive material than the Hiroshima atomic bomb. It left the surrounding area as the most radioactive landscape on Earth, and roughly 350,000 people were evacuated. Almost 40 years later, over 200,000 cases of cancer have been attributed to the disaster. Some animals, like frogs and wild dogs, have even mutated to survive in the radiation zone, and some say that it won't be habitable for humans for at least another 20,000 years. Snake Island, Brazil. Situated off the coast of Sao Paulo, Snake Island is widely known as one of the most dangerous places in the world. It's the only place on the planet that houses the deadly golden lancehead viper, one of the world's most venomous snakes. Its venom can cause kidney failure, tissue death, and internal bleeding, and is so powerful that it can actually melt human flesh. The island measures just 43 hectares and is estimated to have between 2,000 and 4,000 golden lanceheads. That's 1 per every square meter. The snakes were trapped there around 11,000 years ago when rising sea levels cut them off from the mainland, and there are no predators to keep their numbers in check. Since the snakes killed the only inhabitants of the island, the Brazilian government has banned anyone from even visiting it. Oymyakon, Serbia. The remote village of Oymyakon is the coldest, permanently inhabited place on Earth. It's closer to the Arctic Circle than it is the nearest city, and a monument in the town square commemorates the day in 1924 when the temperature fell to a record 96 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. Pipes freeze so regularly that most restrooms are plumbingless outhouses. Few crops are able to grow there, so citizens mainly eat meat and fish, which are sometimes eaten frozen. Engines freeze so quickly that cars are kept running day and night. People's eyelashes and saliva regularly freeze into painful little needles, and even vodka will freeze if left outside. Freezing is not uncommon, and in all of Russia, 5,557 Russian citizens froze in 2021 alone. Mont Blanc. Located in the Alps, Mont Blanc is situated at a crossroads between France, Italy, and Switzerland, and is actually a popular vacation destination. While it's roughly half the elevation of Mount Everest, its death count is significantly higher. Since the early 1990s, an estimated 310 people have died while climbing Mount Everest. Meanwhile, Mont Blanc averages roughly 100 deaths per year. Because it's often portrayed as just a long walk, it attracts roughly 20,000 climbers per year, and many of them have little to no climbing experience. The majority are caused by avalanches, falls, falling rocks, or hikers becoming lost or stranded. During peak tourist season, there are an average of 770 involved rescue operations. One Sunday in July of 2022 had 100 rescue operations alone. One of those involved sending 8 emergency workers, 3 doctors, and 2 helicopters to save 3 hikers who were trapped under boulders and snow 50 meters down the mountain. But that's all for this time. If you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a like, leave a comment, and share it if you really liked it, because all of those things help me out tremendously in the algorithm. And of course, if you'd like to see me go live, I'm live every single day on Twitch. Link is in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.